Inspiration, motivation, and encouragement is brewing. Welcome to the Tea Time with Tan podcast, where you experience innovative solutions and creative ideas designed for your colossal dream success. Let's sip. Here's your host, Tan.
Hello and welcome to Tea Time with Tan. TTWT is in the house. I'm so glad you decided to join in and listen to Tea Time with Tan today. Listen here, something exciting is happening with the tea. Great things are coming, so please, whatever you do, get connected. I'm asking that you go to Spreaker.com, that's SPREAKER.com, and follow me there. Look for Tan Takes and follow me there. I'm also asking that you get connected with my Facebook page, Tea Time with Tan. Go over to Facebook and see me there. Also, you can keep in touch with the little bird, Twitter. You can tweet me at Anointed to Speak. That's ANOINTED. The number 2 SPEAK. Anointed to Speak. That's my handle on Twitter. All right. You know how we do it. I would like to welcome our first-time listeners. And at the beginning of our show, we like to give you a moment. I call it a get it together moment, where you can go gather your thoughts. You can go get your notebook, your Tea Time with Tan journal. Hopefully you've gotten it by now. A pen or pencil that's writing, so there won't be any interruptions when you sip this tea. So I'm going to give you a moment to do that. And while you're doing that, I want to give some shout outs to my followers and supporters: Shay, Felicia, Deanna, Tasha, Pastor Johnson, Josh, Ashley R. Smith, Ratna, and Nita Thomas. Thank you guys for being supporters and followers of me. I appreciate you. So hopefully you're almost to the place where you're ready to sip the tea, and we're going to begin this week's episode. I'm over here jamming to my theme music. You know, every opportunity I always shout out my brother Tall Cole at NGU Entertainment. He's a professional, y'all. If y'all need something done, hit him up. I'm snapping my fingers today. If you know me, you know I don't have any rhythm. But hey, that don't stop me from dancing. Hey, go Tan, 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 go Tan. Woo! All right, we're going to get started with the tea for today. Now, when I began podcasting, I opened up with a series on branding, uncovering your brand. What's your brand? How to live your brand? How to grow your brand? Because branding is important. And then we moved over into the next segment, which was your vision and mission statement. Because as you identify and uncover your brand, there has to be a mission statement and a vision statement. Your mission statement is where you are today. Your vision statement is where you see yourself in the future. Where are you going? Hopefully you've completed those tasks. If you have not, please go back and listen to the very first podcast. Make it a smooth transition so that you can know your brand. For example, my brand is inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. You can know your mission statement, and then you can write and live your vision statement. And remember, it's important that we incorporate these within our families, because a family that has a brand is a family that's on the move. A family with a mission and vision statement is unstoppable. And then I recommend you incorporate these core values, the integrity of who your core inner being is, into whatever it is you do professionally, whether you're a small business owner, whether you are an employee, you're in leadership at the company that you work for, in directing your educational career, if you're in school. Branding is important. When you go to someone, you should be able to say, "Hi, I'm Tanya, and my brand is," and articulate your brand. Remember to post your vision and mission statements so that you can see it as often as you can possibly speak it. And remember, we're speaking it so that we can see it. And once we see it, we are living it. So that's kind of a recap on where we are in my podcast series and my segue into today's new session or segment, episode, T, however you want to call it. And today we're going to talk about forgiveness. Often, forgiveness or unforgiveness, it shows up in our lives and it throws us off our brand, because our brand says that we are, for example, my brand says that I am motivation, inspiration, and encouragement. And when events happen unexpectedly, it could lead to unforgiveness. So I'm going to share with you briefly how an unexpected event happened in my life that, it really shook up my brand and my core. And that's when my daughter was killed at the age of 20. And I'm going to eventually tell this whole story, but today I'm going to give you this segment that deals with forgiveness. My daughter was killed while riding a motorcycle with someone that she didn't even know. She had just met the individual. I didn't know him. She didn't know him. She was out with a group of her girlfriends. Some of them got on the back of motorcycles and went for a ride. For my daughter, that ride ended her life. Not her legacy, but her life. And there are some events surrounding how I received the news, how I got the news. And again, I'll share that at a later time. But for this moment, I want to talk to you about forgiveness. The unexpected event where I had a choice. Now, for those of you who may not personally know me, this was my only daughter. She was also my baby. And we also were closer than most. I mean, we had a healthy mother-daughter relationship that meant that we were each other's best friends. So when I received the news that my daughter was killed, it was devastating, to say the least. And I'm really trying to find words to describe, because there are no words. And it's something that you may have to have experienced to even begin to understand. So when I got the news and I found out what happened, and when I tell this story, sometimes I cry, sometimes I don't. So if you hear some sniffling, I'm okay. I'm in a good place. I'm in a great place. But you see, that was my baby. That was my daughter. So when I got the news that she was killed, I couldn't even begin to digest it. And when I should have been thinking about my daughter, me, the impact to my family, somehow my thoughts went to the young man. And I remember asking, did he survive? And I was told yes, that he had survived. At that time, they didn't expect him to live, and I will tell you that he did live. All I could do was to ask God to be with him. And my family, some of them were angry, and you know how some generations are, and we want to retaliate. How could this happen? All kind of things began to show up. But for me, what showed up and what stayed was forgiveness. I remember thinking, that could be my son. And I also have a son. I have 2 children. And I would want someone to forgive my son. I would want them to show him mercy, to show him grace, to forgive him. And that's when I made the decision. It wasn't really a decision. It was just kind of like an act of nature for me. I had to forgive the young man. So I immediately forgave him. I don't remember a lot of things surrounding that event, but I remember crying out to God on his behalf because he needed to know that he was forgiven, that I had forgave him. And you may be asking yourself or saying or thinking, lady, you crazy. Somebody that killed your child, you forgave him, and then it was immediately. But I did. And then I did actions to validate my forgiveness. The state of Texas eventually charged him with a crime. I wrote a compelling letter on his behalf to the courts asking for leniency. And remember, I told you I didn't even know him. His family reached out to me. Excuse me. I hope I hit the pause button. I'm not sure how all of this works yet. But fall has happened right now. I'm in the state of Pennsylvania and I'm a Texan. And in Texas, we don't really often get to experience the different seasons. But fall has shown up here, and it's my allergies, asthma, all of that is trying to work. But hey, it's not working. I win. I was telling you about how I immediately forgave the young man and how I wrote a letter to the state requesting leniency on his behalf. His family wanted to meet me. I went. I let them host an event for me. I went with forgiveness. It was the first time I got to meet the young man who killed my daughter. And when I saw him, all I could do was embrace him and hold him and whisper in his ear that I forgave him. And he began to cry and cry and cry in my arms. And he was just sobbing beyond control. And I continued to say, I forgive you. I forgive you. And then I switched it up to tell him he needed to forgive himself. He needed to forgive himself. Yes, it was his choice that led to her death. Although it was an accident, he still contributed because he was driving at such a high rate of speed, thinking that it was fun. He was 20 as well. But I began to tell him, you need to forgive yourself. You need to forgive yourself. And here's how I'm going to connect all of that to today's topic of forgiveness, your brand, your vision, and your mission statement. This life-changing event took me off track. It took me away from any vision I had, any mission I ever had. But when things are written and when you have spoken,